All right, now we're going to take a look at Riley's underwater view. So Riley, as you're coming forward in your butterfly, you can just see right here as you're going to press up how you're lifting that head up. I like, it started very early and now your face is fully forward. It's just kind of where you're not riding the stroke as much, and then your face is already facing straight up. So you're creating a lot of resistance with your head at this position, where you could be in that position where the head's down a little bit more and you're pulling yourself a little bit more forward, getting the chest a little deeper in the water off that kick as you go to reach into the water. So just a little bit of a relationship to the overhead view that we were looking at. And then as we're coming forward in the stroke, you can just see again, I pointed this out on the overview as well. I would like your hands to finish a little bit further back, but also closer to your leg. So you're over here with it, and your leg's here. So there's a good 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches between your leg and your hand. I like them to be much closer together. You almost brush your thumb against your leg when you're swimming butterfly. That gets the finish of the stroke in a better position to push you forward and not up. And I think it's wide because of that high head lift that you have in the stroke that we saw with the overhead view. And then as we're coming forward, again, and I'm going to back up a little bit, but as those hands came out of the water, you can see just a very straight leg position. Legs aren't really doing much in terms of kicking. There might be a slight down motion, but there's not really a kick there. So that's just a place where you can add a kick. I think with a better head position, you will be able to deliver a kick there. And again, here's where you thrust in that next kick as you're reaching forward. And that's a good one. Nice knee bend there, extending forward. But again, I think you're just a little high with the chest and shoulders. So at this point, as you're coming in the water, you're a little bit down with the head. If you're really getting the head down in that breath, your head is going to be right here. It's going to be at a deeper position. And then from the head to the arms is going to be up here. And then the hips, you're going to create more of a triangle. You're a little bit more straighter on line with your stroke at that point. So as we ride forward, you can see you get a little bit of down thrust, but not as much as you're capable of getting. And I think that's just how you're lifting. As you're pulling in the stroke, I always like this about you, and I think that you pull a lot of really good water. So this part is good. Your hand and your forearm is in good position with a high elbow to really pull water on both sides. So you're really pulling yourself forward really nicely. Always catching the water. Out of the swimmers that I've seen so far, you're closer together underneath your body too. So I think that shows why you can swim the 200 fly well, is because you do pull good water in your butterfly and you have a very good feel for getting the hands into the hips and the body. We just got to get you down on that breath and keep you down on the breath stroke, because it's much better there where you didn't breathe than it is when you're taking the breath. You're lifting so high here to get to the air, and then those arms get so high, as you saw in the overhead, that I think it takes away from your forward momentum and some of the reach that you have. You're kind of quicker into the strokes because of that. Okay, as we come forward then into the turn, we'll see, a little bit to the side. You kind of are leaning a little early. I'd like to see you take it straighter on. So you're coming on the line to the wall, but then you can see here, you're kind of to the side a little bit with that body. And I'd like to take it straighter on as you go through the turn. Knees are great. They're coming up really tight underneath the body. That's fantastic. Upper body's a little high. I like your shoulders to be down in the water a little bit more. Use that low center of gravity instead of pulling yourself out of the water to get in through the turn. So you're a little high at that point. As I point out in the overhead, the arm could have been tighter here, and then as you go to push off, pretty good push off. Feet are trailing apart a little bit, so if you push off a little harder, those feet will come together a little bit more. I think if you can get some more depth, this is a fairly deep pool here, so your angle is relatively shallow. I would like to see you push and get just a little deeper. That second line, beyond that line, and be anywhere from 5 to 6 feet underwater, would be in a better position to get speed on your kick out. Kicking out, again, that's a good first kick. And then it's just a little slow. I think your kickouts are good. You're kicking down, extending beyond the knee on that line. Nice tight streamline. All that looks good. Feet come up a little high at that point, but it's more the distance you travel before you take the next kick. So we want to be a little quicker with the snap on those kicks, and that's going to get you up in the stroke a little bit better. Again, I like your body angle when you're not breathing, and then that breath, just the head's early, it lifts early, and then it lifts really high. So if we can get you to lift the head just a little later, I think it's going to help you finish, and you can see it really here on this part. You're finishing your stroke right here. I think you can reach further back here to get that stroke, and that'll give you some forward momentum too. It'll give you more length in terms of the stroke as you go forward. Aside from that, I like the way you flow through the water. I like the way you pull water. We just got to get the head lower on the breath, the chin on top of the water, get it more forward, and I think that'll help you lengthen out the butterfly with your stroke and be a lot faster. Okay.